Hello, and welcome to Holistic Emails, Email and More, a Q&A with. I'm your host, Skip Federa, and on today's episode, we will be looking at email marketing calls to action that actually convert. Now, as you know, this is your show. We bring the experts, but it is your questions that drive the conversation. It's unscripted, pretty unrehearsed, and it's always a whole lot of fun. And we're so excited to be back for season 5. Before we go any further, I would like to tell you a little bit about our two sponsors for this season. So our platinum sponsor, yet again, is RPE Origin. RPE Origin's team of email experts has been obsessed with email marketing for nearly 20 years. From strategy to creative to execution to data analysis, they help companies increase their email ROI through a cross-vertical data-centric approach. Also, new to us this year is our silver sponsor, Sino. Our friends at Sino have built an amazing email analytics platform that will enable you to explore and benchmark your email campaigns like never before. Their intuitive platform makes dealing with data feel like a friendly chat, not a complicated puzzle. So as I said, we are so excited to be back for season 5. And at the end, I'll tell you a little more about what we got coming up for you. But if you're joining us for the first time, then check out our website at Holistic Email to catch up on every episode from seasons 1 to 4. Wait, don't do it now. Do it after the show. Do it after the show. Don't do it now. You don't want to miss this. This is going to be good. So we've put together a brilliant panel for you today. First up, we've got Stephanie Mainstone, head of CRM at Exclaimer. We've got Anna Leviton, email and marketing automation lead for Powtoon. And with me, as always, is best-selling author and award-winning thought leader, Kath Pei of Holistic Email Marketing. Now, our time always passes way too quickly, so folks, get your questions into the Q&A tab. But while you're doing that, and before we get started, I'd like to invite Ryan Phelan to the stage. He's already here. Hey, Ryan.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. So Ryan's going to tell us. You're right there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool. So Ryan's going to tell us a little bit about RPE Origin.
Thanks, Skip. I am really honored to just kind of drop in and say hi on the first episode of this season. I am a big fan, and my company, RPE Origin, is a proud sponsor of this program and the subsequent webinars. RPE Origin is, real quick, the only vendor-agnostic, email-centric, full-service agency in the space. We work primarily with mid-market enterprise companies to excel their email marketing from design, from integrations, migrations, RFPs. Pretty much if it falls in the span of email, that's what our company works on. We're close to 30 people around the country and just having fun every day. So thank you guys for letting me drop in and say hi. But good luck with the panel today. I'm really excited to hear what comes of it.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for stopping by. And I think we've got you on in a later episode, so we'll catch up more then.
I'm excited.
Good. Actually, before you go, let me ask you. Let me ask you a question real quick. I'm putting you on the spot, so I apologize.
Go for it.
Do you have a memorable email call to action that's caught your attention recently, and what made it cool?
Not call to action, subject lines, but not calls to action. The learn more is always my favorite because it's less threatening. It's not buy now. It's not convert. But I really haven't seen a lot of creativity in calls to action. Right. I'm actually looking forward to hearing what you guys say because maybe I'll get inspired because right now I'm drawing a blank. But
excellent. Well, welcome. Enjoy the rest of the session, and we'll catch up with you later in the series.
All right, cool. Thanks, everybody.
All right, so Stephanie, same question to you. What's an email call to action that's caught your attention recently, and what made it cool?
Well, I'm not sure that it's exactly cool, but mine actually came to what made it cool was kind of the data that might have sat behind it. So it came from what appeared to be two completely coincidental emails that I received last week from Litmus. And one of them was about using social proof and polls in email marketing. And the other one was about using calls to action in email marketing. And I've been chatting with colleagues and posting on LinkedIn about both of those topics a lot recently, because we're about to start using polls in our emails at Exclaimer. And obviously we know what the title of this event is today. So whether or not Litmus do have something powerful and clever going on in the background, and they're listening to what I'm talking about and using that to kind of inform what they're trying to ask me to do, or if they just know that their audience is obviously interested in email marketing tactics and strategies, probably more likely. I've never visited their site looking for information on the topics, but I clicked the CTAs immediately without even really needing to read the email. And the reason they stood out to me as an example for this is that it's a demonstration of the power of delivering the right message at the right time. And those CTAs were just super relevant to me at that moment in time. So for me, clicking through to the assets was kind of a no-brainer.
Excellent. I like that. I hope it was data-driven and not just blind luck.
I hope so.
Right.
Yeah, I hope so.
Actually,
it would be really cool
from
if
a
it
company
was.
like Litmus. Yeah, especially from a company like Litmus. Looks like we're having a little technical issue with Anna. So, Kath, I'm going to jump right over to you. What's oh, there's Anna. Anna's back. No technical issue. Anna, what CTA has caught your attention recently, and why was it cool?
I'm a huge fan of the communication platform called Inspired by Iceland. So it's basically a platform that promotes services, products based and made in Iceland, not affiliated, just love this country. Been there, really enjoyed. So in their newsletters, they use very specific CTAs. For example, Taste Iceland, Hollywood in Iceland, like what to do in Reykjavik. And I find it very interesting. And Ryan just mentioned that he likes learn more. And I like it when the CTA is more specific, like learn more about what. So I think the more specific CTA, the better.
I think that's really interesting because if you're really specific in your CTA, then people have the opportunity to click on it without reading the email, which goes back to what Stephanie said, right? If it's learn more about Reykjavik or great restaurants in Reykjavik, well, I know what I'm getting. So I don't have to read the body copy. Kath, what about you?
Okay, I'm going to do something highly unusual because I don't normally tout our own stuff. But Jonathan,
okay. I was like, what's going to happen now?
Jonathan, who's our stage manager for this event and my wingman, he puts together all of our emails and our call to actions, and literally every week, every time we have it, which is every 2 weeks, our newsletter goes out. I look forward to reading his call to actions because they're always innovative. They're always different. They kind of ask for you to get attention, but it's always on topic as well. Often there's a theme to it too, like it was last week. Jordi Van Ryn from Email Monday, he thought that it was so good he wrote a blog about them, right? So if ever you want to go and have a look at how to use call to actions, and let me tell you, when you go look at the metrics, there's 3 different places that you can click for the article: the title, the image, and the call to action. The call to action gets a lot of action. So anyhow, Holistic's own emails. There you go.
I think. This question's not on the list, so I'm going to throw you all a little bit. But Anna, we'll start with you. Do you think people don't put enough attention and energy into their calls to action? Is it sort of like a throwaway, like the subject line and like the alt tags on images?
Yes, I totally agree.
Yep. No, it's just one of those things, and then how many times have I come across clients and the call to actions are hard coded in, so they can't even change them. So it's just going to be a learn more or find out more or read more or something like this, something that's not, gripping, not compelling, not emotive, not persuasive, not specific to the next action, all of those things which normally would help to actually, get the call to action clicked on, and they're not. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's a great lead into another thing I kind of wanted to get into, Kath. In your experience, how important is the alignment between the email's content and the CTA? You were talking about hard-coded CTAs, which means to make there be any alignment between the CTA and the copy, you're basically writing the copy to the button, which makes little or no sense.
No. Okay. So it really needs to be aligned. So the call to action, ideally, if you go down to its essence, it's there to tell you what the next step is, right? And so, I mean, back in the day when e-commerce platforms were still new and e-commerce sites were still new and everything like that, unlike where we have now an add to your basket call to action, there used to be a buy now call to action. And some people decided to test it, many years ago, and they found that the add to basket gave a much better uplift than a buy now, because buy now was not appropriate. You were not going to click that button and buy now. You are literally going to click that button and add to basket. And this is what, the consumers want to know. They sort of go, okay, so how is this relevant? What am I going to do? What's going to happen next? That kind of thing. So, the more specific you are. Now, we just did a welcome program revamp for one of our clients. They had 2 emails in their series. We changed it to being 3. We rewrote it, added a lot more content, a lot more call to actions. The call to actions went from being very, very generic, very, unspecific to the next action, to being witty, specific, beneficial, persuasive, and everything. The uplift was phenomenal. Obviously, that's also in conjunction with the copy as well. But, even if you pull along compare the call to actions, very, very different results. So they do matter.
Stephanie, you're leaning in, which is
I am leaning in.
Video language for, ooh, me next, please.
Pick me. I mean, really, I'm just agreeing, but I think it's about remembering that the actual conversion doesn't usually happen in the email. So I agree completely with what Kath said. You're like trying to push them over the line past your email and into the next space where you want them to convert and do the things that you want to do. So I just think we always need to remember that your call to action is really important, but it is part of a bigger journey, and you need to be looking at every single step of that journey. There's a journey before the click, the subject line, the kind of placement in the inbox, the copy that you're kind of pushing them towards, and everything is a little bit of a nudge to get them further towards that thing that you actually ultimately want them to do.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I heard a great quote at a conference last week that I've now used almost every day. And most email marketers don't consider themselves brand marketers, but the definition of a definition of brand, which was presented at this conference, is that it is every interaction with your company is your brand. That's what makes up brand, is every interaction with your company. If you think about your email, you've got what they see in the inbox, what they see when they open, then the copy, then the calls to action, and what happens after that. I think so, Stephanie, you're really hitting on that whole point, that it's all part. It's each one's a little nudge in a much longer journey.
Yeah, I've written and spoke on this a lot. There's the way I see it is that there, and this is really helpful when you start to break it down, like what Stephanie was saying. There's 3 conversion points. Convert them to open. All right. And I don't mean download the image. They don't have to, as long as they get their eyeballs on the message, right? So convert them to open. That usually happens with the subject line. Convert them to click, which happens with the copy and the call to action, and then convert them to conversion, right? Whether that's downloading a white paper, attending a webinar, whatever the story is. So as long as you treat all of them and give them all equal weighting, because they all will impact, you can get them to open, but then that's it. You need to get them to open and to click, to get them to convert. They all matter.
Yeah, they do. They do all matter. And it's also kind of about usability, right? If I'm in a physical shop and I can't figure out where to check out, want to put my stuff down and walk out. It's all about signposting and getting people to use as little brain power as you can, or have them use as little brain power as they can, or as you can. Anyway, don't matter, to get them to move to that next step. Now, Stephanie, I wanted to pick up with you, considering the critical role of CRM in understanding customer behaviors. How can email marketers better utilize the data that they have to make those calls to action either more personalized or more efficient?
Well, I think we're all sitting on like a gold mine of data. Like, it doesn't matter what company you are now, like the digital age, we all have a lot of data that we're sitting on. But I think we often don't really have tools and processes in place to be able to kind of make the most of that data. And it can feel like something that's impossible to overcome. So for me, it's about like starting small, and figuring out what you can do to harness that data. Because if you're not making decisions about your email program that are backed by data, then any improvements that you see are going to be kind of based on luck, and you're not going to be able to replicate luck unless you're a very lucky person. And anyway, you can't force somebody just by using a CTA to do something they don't want to do. So like I was just saying, a compelling CTA is just going to be that thing that pushes them over the line to the thing that they kind of already wanted to do anyway, the thing that feels natural for them to do in like their job role, the company that they work in, the age they are, whatever the segment. And we need data to tell us what that thing is that we want them to do. And the CRM data comes in before, after, all around every email. And beforehand, we need to be building those customer segments and using our business insights, using our own experience, our knowledge, research that might have taken place into segments or personas in your business. And that is what determines the types of content and the CTAs that really should be working for each of your segments. And then they can kind of become like testing hypotheses and the things that you want to try. And then after you've sent the email, because you've got your segments built and you've split out your CTAs, you can see what worked and what didn't, and who it worked for, who didn't maybe respond to that call to action so well. But if you don't do that segmentation, you have one CTA for everybody, then how are you going to know what's driving your successes, your failures, and you're not going to have any way to improve. And I guess I'm starting to touch on testing now. I won't go into too much more detail on it, but
no, that's a great segue, because we've got a great question from Norman Freint. Norman, I hope I pronounced that accurately. And I kind of feel like if you're the marketing operations associate at Powtoon, we should let Anna answer this question first. Do you usually A/B test calls to action? And what are your recent A/B tests?
So great question. And thank you so much, Narmin, for attending this webinar. We work together in a marketing ops team. And we at Powtoon, we love testing different CTAs. In a nutshell, Powtoon is a visual communication platform. So we help users to create presentations, and we like personalized templates, personalized content. So we're trying to be personalized also in our communication. And the recent test that we've done, actually, and I encourage everyone to try it, is to add the first name into button. So instead of even the basic one, learn more, it will be Anna, learn more.
And how did it work? It that clearly won, I'm assuming.
Yes, yeah, it had a better performance, and we know that for majority of our database, we have a first name. Of course, there are some cleaning needed, because if it's not a real name, so there should be exclusion list. But in nutshell,
yes, you have to be very, very careful. But the flip side, and I always say this to people, is it's not up to you as a brand to tell me what I like to be called. So if I only gave you my first initial, it's maybe not within your gift to change that. But of course, if I gave something rude, it is definitely within your gift to change that, because that is just going to come back and bite you on social media. That is going to be a TikTok meme faster than anything. Stephanie, Kath, what about you? Kath, I know you test. I'm not even going to ask you that, but what tests have you run recently? What have you seen anything surprising? Have you had any surprising results?
Well, we don't normally test call to actions by themselves, but we do the holistic testing approach, which means that we'll be using a motivationally led hypothesis. So it could be emotion versus curiosity. It could be loss aversion versus benefit driven. Could be anything like that, right? And in that, we will be changing the subject line, maybe the first paragraph, the opening paragraph, or whatever the influential copy is. The call to action, you can even do the landing page, depends on if you've got access. So we tend to test that, make it really robust, because it's all supporting the same hypothesis. It's not a multivariate test. It's actually an A/B split test, but you're just using multiple, factors within the email. So it's very rare that we would actually do just a single call to action test. But we do find that the motivationally driven, and you can do this if you just want to do call to actions, try things like verbs, front loading with verbs. People, we love being funny, it's in the web, we love being told what to do, what the next section is, right? Try motivational things, persuasion, everything like that, the psychology, behavioral science, political biases, you name it. Really learn about those and try them because they work. So, yeah.
Okay, Stephanie, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't done a specific test on the type of button that we use, but it's been part of the changes that we've made to our emails. Oh, I just got a bit of feedback there. Hopefully no one else heard that. It's been part of the testing program that has improved our click rates throughout our emails. And that is having a kind of, well, it's a rollover color on our buttons. So basically when somebody goes over them, they light up, or when you click on them, they light up in a different color. And that has definitely been something that we found has driven more clicks in our newsletter, especially where we've obviously got lots of buttons going on, but people have been clicking through more since we've introduced that.
Well, I don't want to rabbit hole on this topic, but square corners, round corners. No, I'm just kidding. That's the kind of, that's the kind
Depends
of
on the brand.
Depends on the good answer. Good answer. Very good. Drop shadow, no drop shadow. Oh, for love of. Anyway, this is an interesting one. Question we got from. Let's see if I can put this on stage. So, a question we've got from Caitlin Sparling. Word count. So we've talked about putting somebody's name in front of the call to action, and we've talked about being really specific with our calls to action. Have any of you explored word count? How long can a button be before it's too long or too high?
So there's so many things that you can do with buttons, right? And first of all, a call to action doesn't have to be a button, but they generally, it depends on if you B2C it more often is, because remember, we want to make it easily accessible and visible. So buttons tend to pop, they tend to stand out. But it really comes down to your template, your design, and how you can do that. But we work with our clients, and we manage to get some lovely persuasive, very, very long call to action. Work retreat. Sometimes if you're more limited, you can't do that, but you know what? You can have a supporting statement either above or underneath the call to action, which also help the treat as well. So if you can't be as specific as you would like within the actual button itself, because you're coded, there's a restriction there, coding wise or width wise or whatever, try doing that. Test the above supporting statement or below supporting statement above the button. But yes, I think that's a great approach. Don't be limited. Don't think that there is no rule written anywhere that a call to action has to be like less than 3 words. It is not a best practice. It is not written in any book or anything like that, except for maybe a really archaic one that they hadn't explored anything else. So think outside the box. But always with everything that you're doing, just test. Just see, is this going to give...
Oh, I think we lost Kath. Kath, I think at some point during that answer, your microphone may have switched. because it sounded like you walked out of the room kind of partway through. How about Stephanie, Anna, word count, length? Any?
I think you need to judge it within the context of the email. So if you're going full screen and you know that 90% of your audience are looking on a desktop, then maybe you can go a bit wider. But I then sometimes think you just need to like scrunch up your eyes and look at it, and does it still look good in the email? And if it's too wide, I think it will be jarring to your eyes, and that would be my judgment. But I've not tested anything like that. But I have seen very wide buttons, and I've told my team that they need to be a bit shorter because they just look odd.
Well, yeah. I guess my question is, you want to make it clear that somebody's supposed to push it, right? So if it gets too big, it's going to just look like a text box. But the flip side to that is, it doesn't have to look like a button every time, I guess. I don't know, maybe not. Anna, have you all tested that? That sounds like something you guys would test.
Yeah, at Powtoon, like we have a B2B model and B2C. So on B2B, our target audience is HR, L&D professional. We stand for learning development. So for mobile, we like to use just L&D. And for desktop CTA, we use usually like learn and development. So sometimes it's tricky because we so get used to abbreviation and shorten. So sometimes it's not clear for everyone.
Okay, fair enough. And I guess the other thing which you touched on there is the strength of the relationship you have with your audience gives you a little bit more flexibility in what you can do on a call to action, on your calls to action as well, because you can start to with your most engaged audience, you can start to brand your calls to action in a way that they know what it is, but you might not do that for somebody that's higher up in the funnel, because they're not going to have the same relationship with you and your brand. So that's kind of an interesting thought as well.
Skip, what you said about the long one and turning into just looking like a text box. I have seen that happen, and the big problem with that was that it was the same color as everything else. So that's why I stood. If it was in a different color, that popped. And I think that's also the other problem is, I'm not a big fan of saying, oh, let's test green versus red, but I am a big fan of testing, let's test the control, what we've currently got, versus, a color that we've just introduced as a call to action button. No other color is being used, or it's still part of the color palette. And that often can be a bit of a problem, because some brands are very like, oh no, we can't do that, or we don't like a bright color, or we don't want something that's too different, we need to stay on brand. But what are we doing? Are we there? Does being on brand always just bring you the revenue, or does sometimes actually making it easy for them to click and convert and to actually bring in the revenue matter more? So there's always that fine balance between doing that. Definitely, you brought in usability, really matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so then you can start to get into people with color blindness or other visual acuity problems. But going back to are we here to make money, or are we here to be on brand? One of the first jobs I had early in my career, the CMO, I worked for a bank, and the CMO had custom ordered nail varnish in the company logo Pantone. So her nail varnish, and I kind of wondered why. I thought that was just really arrogant or something. And actually that meant that she had the company logo color on her at all times. And you'd see her hold her hand up against something and be like, that's off brand. She just said, that's off brand, and walk away. So, of course, those were the easy days when most things were offline. So we've got another really good question. I feel a little bad. I'm not usually quite so aggressive in the chat, but I think I made people feel bad since they weren't asking questions. So we're getting loads of great questions in. So If it works, I'll do it again. But this question is from Caitlin, and she'd love any B2B examples. I mean, I think B2B examples of any kind would be welcome. So B2B examples, who wants to take that one first?
I can say something that we've tried recently. I don't know if it would be very coherent because it's quite new, but we've basically recognized that we have two core audience segments, marketers and IT people, and our product really needs to be set up by an IT team. So we were kind of having trouble at the beginning of our journey with marketers of like how we could get them in to see the product if they didn't want to have a demo. And we started playing around with different calls to action that we could kind of entice them into doing our interactive product tour, which is kind of like being able to do a free trial, but you don't have to set it up. And I think for that, it was kind of what I said before, where we just took a step back and looked at the data and thought, well, why are these marketers not able to go on the journey? Like, why are they not clicking on the CTA? And it's because actually, like, they were finding it really difficult to be able to actually do that thing. They didn't want to start a free trial. Maybe they'd even tried starting a free trial and they weren't able to do it. So they just were not responding to that call to action to have a free trial. So now we've kind of changed that process. So the call to action is book some time with a salesperson and they will help you set up a free trial so that you can then like have that experience without the kind of roadblock of requiring that like technical support at the beginning. And that has seen really, really good results.
That's interesting. That's pretty cool, actually. We'll have to get you back since you said it was kind of new. We'll have to get you back and see what the long-term results look like.
Yeah, how the actual conversions go.
Yeah, exactly. B2B examples or B2B thoughts?
Yeah, so B2B examples is just, it's the same. You have to understand and speak to the person. They may not be the decision maker. They may be an influencer or they may be the decision maker. Either way, it doesn't really matter because you just need to speak to them as their part in that process as to how they're going to benefit. How is it going to help them? So always, again, just call upon the emotions, the motivations, the psychology, that kind of thing, and speak to them that way. And again, be very specific about the next. Don't be too big. Don't be too big with the, so like, let's take it on or anything like that, right? The next thing, let's jump on the call. Let's, or ask something. Those little micro conversions, right? You've got a process in place. So each one of those should be a micro conversion, which builds them up, answers more and more questions, builds them up with more and more confidence about you and your brand, and also, answers their questions.
I think that that B2B actually touches on all the things that we've sort of. It's almost a great wrap-up question for the first half. If we had a commercial break now, that'd be perfect. We don't, but hey ho, maybe next season. Because as Kath points out, you might be talking to an influencer, you might be talking to the decision maker. The average buying committee is hit some ridiculous number. It's like 12 now. So you've got, for every piece of content you send out or every email you send out, you could have 12 different calls to action. Because what's a motive for me as the CMO may not be a motive for the person who's at the coal face and is going to be using the tool, using the product. They worry about, how's this going to mess up my day? How am I going to be able to get out of the office earlier on Friday by using this tool? Whereas as a CMO, I'm much more interested in conversions or cheaper or whatever it is. Anna, any B2B thoughts?
Yes, I wanted to say that we try to personalize CTAs, and it goes beyond the CTA. So, for example, if we send an outreach from our SDR or sales representative, from the sender name, we would like to use a specific person name, like, for example, Dan from Powtoon. And the same we use for CTA, like not just request a demo or schedule a call, like schedule a call with Dan. And actually, when it goes to like HubSpot, calendar, or any other tool you might use, that you will schedule a call with the real person, not just anyone like and a Powtoon team. So I think it's a combination of CTA, sender name, and a signature.
And I just wanted to add too, another thing to remember is that when you are doing B2B marketing and for leads and everything, you will generally have different types of content. You'll have top of funnel content, mid funnel content, bottom of funnel content. And of course, all of those are going to have different call to actions as well. So so your call to actions would be content and funnel led too.
Absolutely. So folks, keep your excellent questions coming in. The next one comes from Jenna. Actually, these next two are kind of linked. So we'll start off with some product-based CTAs that go beyond buy now, add to basket. So this is more of an e-commerce-y thing. And then we've got a very similar question. So you can put your thinking caps on about financial services and getting education on investments content to be more clickable. So we'll get to that one in a second. Let's focus on this one first. So this looks like an e-commerce-y kind of situation from Jenna around, buy now, add to basket. How can I take it to the next step?
Yeah, I mean, it's you just need to, obviously it'll be dependent on what the product is, but it could be something like join the style leaders. It could be, see the latest footwear. It could be anything like that. That's, it has that kind of inherent benefit within it. That they.
Kath, you just gave me a great idea. If there are any shoe brands online, please test Click for Kicks as your call to action. Please give that a test this week. Let me know how it turns out. Brilliant idea. Thanks, Kath. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that's fine. Yeah, so that's the approach that I would be going with. Like I said, go and have a look. I know that the newsletter is our Holistic Insights newsletter is not product-based as such, but it uses that principle that it's always talking about how the person can benefit, and you can just relate that to the product as well.
Okay, I'll unless Anna or Stephanie, you've got you're dying to add an insight to that. I really want to get to this next question, which is from Katie, if that's all right. It's so Katie works for a financial firm and their content is educational. How do we get investments contact to be more clickable? I guess the question is, to put into a bigger context, maybe, how do I make boring exciting? Katie, I'm sure that your content is not boring, but I took a little bit of a liberty there, and I apologize if I overstepped.
Well, I do kind of come across this a bit in my company, because our content is quite educational, but it has to be very specific to email signatures, which is quite a narrow niche. And we have just had to do some work on making our content more interesting, because you can do everything you want with the way that you talk about your content, and you can make the email button clickable or whatever it is that you do to make it sound more attractive. But if then they get to the content and it isn't doing what you said it will, then you're going to lose that kind of trust from your audience. So I think it's kind of not even about the CTA and the email at this point. It's about actually looking at how you can improve and make your content more exciting. So you can get it to be more clickable, but if they get there and it doesn't deliver, then I don't think that's going to achieve what you need to achieve.
Okay. Anna, what do you have you had a challenge with? Kath's moved. Have you had a challenge with trying to make maybe something not super exciting more exciting sounding?
Yeah, we always have this challenge at Powtoon, and maybe it will help the person who asked this question. We're visual communication platform, and sometimes we send email just full of text, not really showing, what we have, not really showing what our tool does. So we started to do GIFs that made it Powtoon. And instead of like using a PNG or just a regular logo, we use these GIFs like inside the email and saying, okay, this is actually this image that you see, it's made in Powtoon, and you can do the same. So I think, again, with financial services products, it's a little bit more challenging, but if you can show your product within the communication platform you use, this is a win.
Absolutely. I think anytime you can, a picture's worth 1,000 words and all that sort of thing. So it's definitely the way to jazz things up. And for those of you who are curious, Katie gave me a little laugh emoji. So she was not offended when I called her content porn. Thankfully. Boy, that could always go wrong. Right. Moving on quickly. Well, Anna, that's an interesting segue into a question I wanted to ask you about, with Powtoon's emphasis on engaging content. How do you find the balance between showing off your products and your wares and the kind of the multimedia effects in email, but not being too distracting? How do you find that balance so that your call to action doesn't get lost in everything else?
Yeah, that's a great one. And I especially feel challenged when we send the product updates. And I'm sure that the B2B folks on this webinar will understand me. For example, we have 3 main product updates. We have new templates, new effects. And of course, I want to squeeze everything in one email and that every single feature will get the same attention. So unfortunately, we need to first understand that there will be only one primary CTA. So one product update, one feature will get the majority of attention, and it's fine. And my strategy behind that is, as Stephanie mentioned in the beginning of the call, like, base your content on data. And if I know that the specific segment of users, they're more likely to use a sound effect in their presentation, in their animation video. So for this segment, this will be the try and use sounds. This will be the primary CTA. And for other segment, it will be use new templates. And the same actually with onboarding. And this is relevant also for B2C, for B2B products. Sometimes we tend to squeeze all our benefits, everything what we have in the very first onboarding email, instead of focusing on only one feature.
The number of times that I've worked with a client and they're like, okay, here's what we're going to put in the first email. And then, okay, what are you going to put in the second? Oh, well, right. And if it's an onboarding thing, maybe, but the number of times I've seen them do that in a newsletter as well, or any kind of monthly communication. So that's,
I was going to say, it all comes down to also the hierarchy. We have to understand that if you are promoting multiple features, factors, news items, whatever it is within, you have to, as Anna said, you have to choose what is your main one. You have to focus on that. And that can be positioned differently. It can have a center alignment. It can be in a bright purple, right? Or bright pink, whatever the story is. And then you can have some subsequent, some subsidiaries, lesser ones, which are still, maybe that person isn't interested in that one, but they're interested in some others. So you can still have them there, but they'll be smaller, different call to action, maybe right aligned, left aligned, whatever the story is. So you are using the visual hierarchy to actually designate to them what is what you determine, what the main purpose for that particular email is. And this is what we would like you really to pay attention to. But of course, If that doesn't suit you, then hey, there's a whole bunch of other things here too. So you can be doing that. And I think we also then have to understand too, even if we have got a solus email, so we do solus emails. In fact, if you guys, whoever has attended today, if you received an email from us, you would have received an email inviting you to this particular session, and you will have received probably one with 3 call to actions, all different copy, all different placements, and all of them get actioned. In fact, I had a look before I came on. The last one we sent, it was like 30% went for the first one, 20% for maybe I've got this wrong. Let me think. Let me see if I was right. But anyhow, so go down, the lower.
They all get clicked.
All getting them. They were all still worthy of being there.
Yeah. And I think that's an important takeaway. If you're not measuring each one differently, then you'll never know which one is performing the best or which ones aren't. And if they aren't, then maybe you can use that area for some other kind of content that might be beneficial, or to shorten your email. Either way. Right. Conscious of time. Let's start, Stephanie, let's start with you on this one. What's the future hold? What are the trends or innovations that you see coming from email? I mean, is there, first off, talking about innovation in email is always a bit fraught, because let's face it, there's not a lot that we can change because of the technology. But what do you want to be testing over the next year? What's going to be happening?
Well, it may not be over the next year, but this is something that I'm excited to talk about because it's AI. And we all know that AI is already influencing everything that we do in our lives, but our email tools are kind of lagging behind in how they're incorporating AI. And at some point, as some more kind of specialist product managers in AI emerge, we'll see this becoming more and more powerful, more prevalent. But I think that most email tools that are kind of worth their salt at the moment will have at least a generative AI widget to help you with suggesting content, suggesting subject lines, CTAs, without you then having to go away to ChatGPT and do that yourself. But it's quite superficial, and then those results are not being fed back into the tool to determine what worked for your audience segments. And we're just using ideas generated by AI, basically. And we could be learning from that and putting the data back in. The AI can make recommendations and predictions that become the foundation of our entire email program, that would be like a very low touch testing program that was kind of run by your AI for you, and take into account which CTAs are converting best. And I really hope that that's something that we see accelerate quite quickly. I think our job roles as email marketers are going to change radically as that comes in, and as we see email tools kind of integrating AI and machine learning in a more meaningful way into the tools that we're using. It's exciting.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think one of the places where businesses will see real value and very quick value in adopting their own AI models is around marketing and generating marketing content. Because we could go out to ChatGPT and generate a bunch of subject lines or a bunch of calls to action, but we're not going to give away the company stores or to ChatGPT. So an internal model that we own, that we control, that we've trained, that we're feeding our results data back into. And then the other thing that I think, to take that one step or 5 steps even further, is it's great that this button with this call to action got the highest engagement. But what does that mean in 6 months' time? Did those people buy? How much did they spend? What was their average order value? Was it a first purchase or a repeat purchase? Have they become a loyal customer? All those things, because then you can start to tell the AI, actually, for this campaign, I just need people to click on the button and buy something. But for this other campaign, that's less of the priority, and the bigger priority is to get a long time loyal customer. And
and it's
the business.
how do we prompt it? That's all we're going to need to do, is like prompt it to understand our business and what needs to happen from each thing. It's very exciting.
Yeah. Very, very, very cool. Anna, what's in your future?
So I basically second what Stephanie just said, that, for example, like in my ideal AI world, I will have labels for each kind of emails, either it's a product update, promo, webinar, and based on the label, the system, the ESP we use will tell me, okay, based on the last 3-6 months, this is kind of CTA that will convert better. That would be really great, instead of doing the analysis manually, go to ChatGPT. So based on like purchase history, to make this CTA more convert better, and also make CTAs more personalized, like whatever you can add a company name or a specific product that or solution this company uses, it's better to integrate it into CTA.
Excellent. Kath?
Well, I mean, I've set up a whole heap of different, let's say personas. I don't know what they call them, but personas within our version, Chad. And so, one's a marketing, and one's a persuasive copywriter, one's a subject line specialist, and so on, right? So we're testing all of these within our particular emails to see what actually brings in the better results. Currently, John is winning. We haven't done the call to actions yet. I really want to try the call to actions. And so I have to work out how I'm going to refine that prompt and get that happening. But it's not to say we can't. I think it will come in time. But there is just so much knowledge that we are specialists in our field, right? ChatGPT isn't. It's still taking out a whole heap of things. So it's still learning. So we, as Holistic, need to do a lot of teaching of Chad in order to bring him up to just our level. And then, hey, then we're going to give him, those data. Then we're getting all of that information. So obviously we have our own private instance of it. We're not sharing it with everyone. So I am looking forward to it. I am excited by it. I still do believe that we, as marketers, need to understand the fundamental principles. We understand, yes, we're going to have to become prompt experts. But we still also need to understand, we can't just leave everything to it. We need to be able to do our own sort of like determination, analysis, and so on as well. My daughter is actually, she's got a little side hustle of actually critiquing one of the AI engines, one of the, Gen AI programs. And they give her 2 options. So she'll ask something, prompt it, and then she is there refining it. So, this learning factor is really, really important. They want to be learning from a whole heap of different people and so on. So it's still got a way to go, but I think the future is, exciting.
It's a topic for a different day. But one of the things that scares me is, how will marketers of the future make mistakes? Because you can't learn if you don't make mistakes. You got to. Everybody's got that email campaign that absolutely bombed, that they did earlier in their career, and they were trying something, and it was a train wreck from the get-go. And you gotta have those to become better and to become, to kind of earn your stripes, as it were. Anyway, like I said, a conversation for another day. So we're down to our last 5 minutes. So I'm gonna wrap us up here. Could each of you offer one actionable tip that all the attendees can take away to improve their email calls to action this week? Well, maybe next week. No, this week. In the next 2 weeks. Let's go with that. Anna, let's start with you.
So if it's 2 weeks, so I will give 2 tips. The first one I mentioned already several times, at least test adding a first name. And the second one, don't ever forget about dark mode. So I recommend you to add a border to the CTA just to test it again, because you never know how the user will see it on their device.
Perfect. Stephanie?
I think mine is about being laser focused on the CTA and what it is that you actually want your recipient to do when they receive your email, and looking at the journey that leads up to and follows the CTA, and just thinking about each step, removing the barriers, the noise, the distractions, and giving them like a clear and easy path to that final conversion. And it's actionable. I know it's quite a big one, but it's actionable in every email that you send. Like, you can make small changes every time you create a new email, to work towards that being just your normal.
0.1% improvement in every email adds up very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very quickly. Better is better. Kath?
I'm just going to stick to two very basic ones, but I think I do actually make a difference. And it's all about visibility and usability. So basically, make it pop, make it different, make it stand out. Shape, color, everything like that. Don't have it the same color that you have with everything else. I've seen some beautiful emails and they are aesthetically pleasing, but you struggle to find the call to action. And then also the placement factor. Understand the hierarchy of your messaging and work with that. And also, if you've got a soulless email as such, test to see how many call to actions are needed within it. All of our tests have always proven that more are better, but that's just for us and our clients. So always test.
Kath, that's your actionable tip for everything. Keep testing.
I know.
Just keep testing. Just keep testing. Well, thank you for that. Well, that's all we have time for today, folks. Please let us know what you thought. Add some comments in the chat. We'd love to hear your feedback. Please join me in giving a big thanks again to our platinum sponsor, RPE Origin, and our silver sponsor, Sino. Also, big thank you to our wonderful panel of speakers, Stephanie, Anna, and Kath. There's the sponsors in case you want to make note of those, folks. Now, like I said, we are super excited to be launching season 5, and Kath and I will be back on the 23rd of April. And we'll be talking about leading with strategy. But you can see in May, we're going to be talking about Gen AI and copywriting. There's a deliverability thing. We're doing that earlier this year, so you're ready for the holiday season with that. And then we'll wrap up the year with innovations in email marketing. So please, 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 here are the dates. It's not the first Tuesday. It's the last Tuesday of every month. Anyway, you'll get an email. Please sign up, join us for all of those sessions. Last but not least, a big thank you to all of you for joining us today. We know that you're busy and you've got other things going on. So the fact that you took an hour out to spend with us today is an honor and a privilege for us. So thank you very, very much. Until we see you again, be safe and make good choices.